Hello, you made it.
Hi. I thought it was like clear. I didn't
Okay.
realize. I
Okay.
accepted the invite. I thought I was done.
That's perfect. You're right. I'm just like more like I need to control everything. Everyone is. The main thing is that you're here. So, Aviva, I want you to do two things. First, I want you to really introduce yourself because I want you to explain to the people that are here what you do. And then we're going to talk about how you were with your numbers before and how you are now. Like just about the knowing how was this process of looking for the numbers and getting more control over your numbers. So go ahead.
Okay. So yes, my name is Aviva, and I am a patient advocate. I'm a board certified patient advocate with a background in public health. But I have been working for about 10, 12 years as a patient advocate. I have my own business, and I also train other people how to be patient advocates, mostly in Israel with English speakers, but I do work with some people abroad. But that's pretty much my
So
my
you've been in business
focus.
for 10 to 12 years. Is
Well,
that
so this
correct?
I had beforehand. I had more. I did research coordination for academics, like in the community. We call it
Okay.
applied research, and I also did patient advocacy. And then I worked for a number of years with a nonprofit, and Corona kind of changed the whole field, and that's when I had to decide, what am I doing? Am I going out or to look for a real job?
Right.
Or am I gonna try this again with a different, hopefully more functional business model? And
Right.
that's actually where I found you. So I mean,
Right. And
that's
now
just
we
we've been
work
working
right.
together for over a year. So
Right. So we've been working together and I want you to tell me what was because today is really about knowing your key numbers, right? Today is day number 1 of our strategic planning live training. And it's really about how were you before with the numbers? Like, what was your approach, or even your emotions, or did you like numbers, or was it something you enjoyed doing? And how, since we know you went through this strategic planning experience, how is it now? Like, can you tell us like the before and the after?
sure. So first of all, I think I'm one of the lucky ones in that the numbers never scared me. Like I didn't, I wasn't intimidated by them. I wasn't. I mean, I keep track. I kept track in Excel's, and I kept track in my invoice program. About the income and outcome. But I don't think I was savvy about it. Meaning, I didn't actually know what to do with the numbers. I think that was kind of my. And okay, I'm here, and I want to get here, but I don't know how to do that. And so this was the third strategic planning day that I've done with you this time.
That's right.
Um, but like, I feel like it takes a bit, sort of to get into the mindset. I feel like this time that I spent was a complete epiphany. I feel like I have such a clear roadmap about what it is that I need to do. Because I think part of the difficulty of running your own business, being an entrepreneur, especially if you have like, a small or no staff, is that everything kind of feels overwhelming and everything feels of equal importance. And and I don't know, I mean, I have a very also limited time with which I could work. I have children, I have other obligations, etc. So I need to know when I start my day exactly what is the priority, what am I doing, what are the focus. And I felt like sort of breaking down the numbers with you this last time really gave me a clear sense of, okay, I know what I need to do, until the end of the quarter.
Right, right. And so it's interesting because I'm sure that a lot of people, even in the live now and in general, are if they are doing their numbers, they're doing money coming in, money coming out, like revenue and expenses, because that is basic common sense. Even a budget, at home, the money coming in, money coming out. You need to. So that I feel it's already great. Some people don't even do that, but we hope that everybody is at least aware of how much money they make, how much money they spend, and how much money is left. So I feel like this is something that's really common sense. But what I like about what you said, and what I want everyone here to hear, is that this is not business skills. This is like common sense. Like I said, like when even you manage a home budget, you have to do that. But what you just said is, how do we take the numbers and we understand from the numbers what is the strategy, like what are the different steps that I'm going to have to make, and how do I understand from those numbers what is next step and what do I focus on and what is the priority, right? So that's what I really like about what you said, because that's looking as a business owner to your next 3 months. So can you
Exactly.
describe a little bit more? By the way, guys, if you have any questions in the chat, I'm looking at the chat here. So again, remember, if you don't type anything, I assume that you're sleeping. So if you want me to know that you're awake, just type anything, hey, I'm awake. But also, if you have questions for Aviva, that's also why I figured it was really great to have someone come and talk about their own experience. Because I can talk for hours and I can say, this is great, you should do this, you should do that. But when someone else comes and says, I've done it and it works, okay, so then you say, okay, now I get a little bit, I trust it more, right? So if you have any questions for Aviva, please type it in the chat and I will. Aviva is inspiring. I agree. That's Yale. Yale Tanner. That's great. That's great.
Nice.
That's nice. Aviva is, I agree. I definitely agree. So yeah, you could say nice things about Aviva or ask questions. That's also an option. So can you tell us a little bit, without going too much into details, because we're not going to go into the whole plan, but what type of clarity did you get from the numbers? Can you describe more?
So I think it's important to point out also what you said is exactly like I always had done the budget, what comes in and what's going out. And I was really always proud of myself. Like, okay, I do that, and I was always like very aware of that because that's my personality. And you're right, exactly. I did that for my home budget.
Right.
But moving to the next level, what you were telling us was, okay, start with the end in mind, like the reverse engineering. How much, what do you want your revenue to be for the next quarter? So this is always like, I always have trouble with this like, what am I supposed to put here? Like my dream number or like, so you were good and said basically like what you've been doing and like add 20% on, which for me is helpful. I'm sure for other people, but for me, because you always tell me my prices are too low anyway. But that was I realized that I just need a structure. I just need a structure and I just need to make a choice because that's the only way that I get to move forward. So once I had that structure, I said, okay, that's my revenue to the end of the year. And then you said like, okay, look at your client prices that you're charging per client. How many clients do you need to reach that revenue by the end of the year? And suddenly it just like, it totally changed the perspective because I saw that number and I thought, okay, that is a number that I can reach for, and then you helped us with thinking about like marketing goals, but and projects. But I felt like if I know that I have a number and I have to do that number by X time, and I know already, what I use, what are the skills or what are the projects that I'm using to get anyway a client, it was just very helpful because I felt like it made it so much more structured. And now I felt like, okay, now I can build a plan around that. It's not like this, like very fuzzy, I need to, increase my income, which is basically what I always have in the back of my mind. It's like, I need to increase my income, but it's like it's very foggy and, you don't know what to do with that. So,
I love this. I love this. I feel like you're talking for everyone because I'm sure everyone is like, oh yeah, this is me. This is me. So we have questions here. So let me just look at let me look at the name because I'm not seeing the name. So Yael is asking, and Yael is the one who finds you inspiring, right?
Right.
So
I know. I also thought she was going to keep complimenting me, which is great. So
you better have a good answer for her, right? That's what we. So she's asking, how did you know how many clients to take on without overwhelm? And if you don't have an answer for that, I can answer. But what is your take on that? How did you know how many clients to take on without being overwhelmed?
Right. So first of all, it's a good thing because I'm already overwhelmed. So, I didn't have to worry about that. And the other thing that I'm busy doing with Natalie is figuring out how to hire. That's what I'm in the process of. So, but it was very clarifying for me that if I wanted to, like if I want to up my clients and I'm already need to hire, like, right, I've got to do that. It was kind of like the push, like, it doesn't kind of matter if I feel comfortable with the hire, which I don't let because I'm sort of like, I have to have everything that's going to cover the hire. But seeing like, okay, you need X clients by X date, and you really can't, won't be able to handle everything as you would that was first of all like, okay, I've got to hire.
Right.
The second thing is that I also know it's a goal. I also know that there's like that I might not get there. There's a pacing that comes along, and if I see that things kind of like everything comes together, you know, I will
Right.
figure it out as I think one of
Exactly.
the most important things that of doing this is not to be afraid.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly, exactly, exactly. And that's why having a number, whatever, I want to say whatever the number. Obviously, we don't want to just have, a number
No,
of
no, the
people.
number was also reasonable
Right,
to like what I've been doing. It wasn't like I need 30 more people. Do you know what I'm saying?
right.
It was like
Yeah,
I need 4 clients by, X date.
exactly.
Oh, okay. That I was like, oh, I can actually do that.
Right, exactly. And so, and Yael also adding on to what Aviva is saying, but I really loved what you said, is also that this exercise of looking how many clients you had up until Q4 and adding this 20% is usually 20% is something doable, something that we can afford. Or if it's not doable, then we go back to increasing our prices. Because if we need to get a higher goal with either less or the same amount of clients, that it means that we need to we increase our prices. But that's another conversation. We
But
want
that
to
was
have
the other that
right,
was the other take home that I had was like, okay, I need this number of this type of client.
right,
I don't need any other of the smaller client with the thing. I
right,
don't need that. This is the
exactly,
client that I need. So that
right,
also helped me clarify. Like now, when people are coming in, I'm not pursuing the smaller clients. I'm pursuing the longer term, larger package clients because I know that I need to close them till the end of the year to like have the revenue that I want. And I feel like that's very clarifying because it also helps me make priorities.
exactly, exactly. That is also saying, okay, if I need to get to that number, I cannot have 10 small clients. I need to have like 4
Exactly.
medium to big clients, and then
Exactly.
this is going to help me. So it also that's, by the way, that is strategy, right? That is strategy is, I'm not going to do that, I'm going to do this. And when we do, we think strategy is a plan, but most of the time strategy is what to say no to. I say no to this, no to this, no to this, and then this is what I'm focusing on. Okay.
Right.
So we have a lot of comments here. So very informative, Aviva. Thank you. I also need to figure out what my top priorities are before I get started in the morning. Exactly. And so we'll talk about the project. So tomorrow is about all the reverse engineering and the marketing. So that's day 2. Today is about having clarity on the numbers, and tomorrow we will do the priorities. So you'll have that definitely. Sorry, I'm not saying your names because in StreamYard I don't see the names. Then someone is saying, I relate to also knowing the money coming in and expenses, but more challenging to set goals and planning. Well, that's exactly what we hear, right? So relate to what Aviva is saying. Perfect. That's great. Lily is here. Hi, Lily. Lily is saying yes. Lily is your AB, right? She's like supporting.
Yeah, yeah,
Love it. So now someone is asking, would love to hear more about how Aviva handled publicizing the new venture. How did your clients find you? So let me see who is, that's Fern. Okay, Fern. So that is something we're going to talk about tomorrow. That's the whole marketing, and that's the whole, like, how do we reverse engineer? But I think that what we're talking about here is saying, okay, I need 4 clients. Okay, that's my goal. And then the next step is, how do I find them? Which is what we're going to do tomorrow, right? But at least having that clarity. Judith is saying Aviva has a very welcoming site and seems to be very familiar with what she's presenting, so bound to attract and help any clients. You see? Brilliant, so helpful. Woo, amazing. Okay, we're doing a good job here, Aviva. Thank you. So, any piece of advice before we close? Because I told you it was 15 minutes, very short interview. But if you had to give any piece of advice around the key numbers, around the numbers, what would you say, like one advice to the people that are here with us tonight?
So I would say that I think it's crucial that you set aside time, that you don't try to look at your numbers when you're looking at your website or interacting with clients, but you really turn off any kind of social media, anything. So you're really focused on it. Give yourself if you haven't done it before, I think you have to give yourself at least 2 hours. If you have already in the thing, your pipeline, you can look at it. But if you haven't done this kind of thinking yet, I say give yourself, like, set aside the time because I think it's worth it, and be honest with yourself. I think that's really the thing. Like, really look at, like, how many people did I serve? You know, how many people, I mean, paid me to serve them,
Right,
which is
right.
not always the same thing,
Yes, yes, yes,
especially
yes.
especially for women
De-
entrepreneurs, I found, who
definitely,
are in the
definitely.
helping service profession.
Uh-huh.
And then, and I really think, like, if you're already doing this, then don't be scared. Like, just jump in, because I don't know. I listen to lots of podcasts about business development, and over and over I hear, like, people who do these startups, and people, like, they had no idea about their money, like, none. So many people were successful, like, they kept going at it and at it and at it, even though it was like it didn't look like it was going to be successful at all. So, I don't think that we're in that position, but I do think that it's important to, like, to not be afraid, and to just jump forward and put yourself in, be smart, but to at least really make the effort in what you're doing and not hold back. That's my advice for
Love,
today.
love, love this. Thank you, Aviva. Thank you. This is recorded, so I'm gonna make you listen to it afterwards.
That's good. When I comes in, I'm like, what are we doing?
Yeah, what do
Yes.
we do? Okay, that's always, of course, it's always easier to say that to others. But even if it's easier, it means that we also know where we're going. So we're going in that direction. Doesn't mean that we're doing the whole thing, but not being afraid doesn't mean I jump with all my clothing on in the cold.
No.
Right? It
Right.
means like I'm doing what is my next step. We
Right.
always have one next step. Okay, so
That's
everyone
out
here.
of your comfort zone. That's out of
Exactly.
your comfort zone.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it could be a small step, but it's out of your comfort zone. So Yael is saying, bless you, Aviva. And Sharon is saying, yes, paying, not gmach, right? Of course. You were talking about, like, helping and serving. So
Yeah.
thank you so
Yeah.
much, Aviva.